If you ever beat up a cop, they take you to the hole,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other cops will beat the shit out of you in the hole. Like 4 or 5 cops will just go back there with batons and like break your ribs, like beat the shit out of you.
We don't have batons here in Arizona, but
Yeah.
I mean, when you do attack another CO, they take that very personally.
Right.
And if you happen to trip on your way to SMU
Yeah.
and hit your head on a few things,
Yeah. Do you want to do the intro?
I can.
Okay.
But do you want to do the intro?
I also can.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Welcome to Time Served. My name is Michael Bryant, a former inmate.
And I am Raquel Bryant, a former corrections officer.
Yes. And on this episode, we are talking about
Inmate staff assaults when
Right.
an inmate attacks a CO.
Got it. And it does happen pretty regularly. We know that. Wait, before we get started talking about it, should we do a quick update for the channel?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
So last week we talked about a huge video that was coming your guys' way. We are in the process of shooting it. It will be live next Friday. It's taken a little bit of work on our end, so
Yeah.
that will be coming next week. It's going to be, like I said last week, I don't want to keep hyping it up, but it's going to be insane. It's going to be something that's never been done on YouTube before, so just hang tight. Next Friday, it will be here. We are so excited to release the video.
Definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, definitely worth the wait, and it's going to be like just super, super cool, so I can't. What else? What other updates do we got for the channel?
Shirts. We got shirts going out this week. We're getting them ordered this week.
Tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Sorry, we had the Sweet 16 on Monday, and not Monday. Sorry, our daughter's birthday was Monday, but the Sweet 16 was Saturday. So then Monday we still had to go out and do stuff like for her birthday as well. So it's been a crazy week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the house was
A mess.
Yeah.
There was like 85 people at our house.
It was insane.
It took 2 days to get it back to clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday we finally got the pool cleaned with the Nerf guns at the bottom of the pool.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
But let's get into the topic, which is staff assaults. So what do they teach you guys in the academy about staff assaults if an inmate attacks you? Like, I'm sure they have to prepare you some way for that, right?
Yep. They do several different types of ways to teach us. They do the class portion. They do videos.
Like live video or like actual videos of...
Yes. So there's actual videos of an inmate attacking staff members. There's actual videos of like testimonials from officers who were attacked in, what happened, how they survived. There was a video of the lady at I think it was Lewis complex,
Right.
who was held hostage.
Yeah.
She did a video.
That was the longest. So here in Arizona on a yard called Maury, just to interject, that was the longest prison hostage standoff in American history. And it happened here in 2004. And you guys can Google this. I don't want to go into it too deep. Just real quick, they took a lady and a man hostage up in the guard tower. They released the guy after like 2 days, I think. But they kept the woman. They did really bad things to her. I think they kept her for over 30 days.
Yep.
And they were demanding like pizza and hot dogs and hamburgers while they pretty much tortured her for 30 days.
Yep.
That was on a sex offender yard, though. At the time, it was a sex offender yard.
Was it?
Yeah, at that time, that was a sex offender yard. And then
Oh.
it turned into a GP yard.
Uh-huh.
I was there for a while. It was called Maury. Now I think it might be a PC yard, a protective custody yard now. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But anyways, that was the longest prison standoff in American history, and it lasted for like 31 days. You guys can Google it. The woman did survive. I believe she sued the prison and got it.
She did.
Yeah, she got a lot of money, like millions of dollars.
She does like interviews on TVs now, like documentaries about her
really?
experience. I had actually saw one when I was younger. I was like 18 and I saw it come on. When I was younger, all I did was like binge watch Investigation Discovery Channel.
That didn't scare you though, going into like be a corrections officer and then seeing something like that happen to like a woman?
No, when I was younger, I was like fearless. There
Yeah.
wasn't really, if I was determined and motivated to do something, I was going to do it.
Yeah.
There wasn't much that could really scare me off. I wanted to join the military too, so
Yeah.
I had all these big dreams and aspirations. That was kind of just like the start of it because I had, became a corrections officer very young, and I thought it was just the start of all kinds of crazy things I was going to do.
Right.
When you're young, you don't really like have
solid
complete plan. Yeah. That's kind of where I was. So honestly, at the beginning of self-defense week, during the class portion, they tell us straight up, we will never let inmates out of prison if they have you hostage. We'll never do that. We're not willing to sacrifice your life to let inmates out.
So essentially they say we do not negotiate with terrorists. That's like their, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we tell that to our kids. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yep. So they basically tell us, like, at the beginning of that week, like, if that's a problem, then you might as well just head out now, because that's the way it is. And
so
that's
if somebody
never going
takes
to change.
you, they'll never let somebody else out of prison for it. Like, it's just
even if they,
threaten your life,
unalive you. Yeah. They're not going to let the inmates out just to save your life.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. I don't think anybody left after they said that. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't happen too often, right?
Right. But some people, that might spook some people.
Yeah, for sure. That would spook me, to be honest. Like, I'd be like, man, if these fools snatch me up, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that the other guards or anything can do.
Right.
But it doesn't happen a lot. So what was self-defense week? What was that like?
So they had been hyping it up. They had been telling us about it, like, during self-defense week, you're going to do this, this, and this. There's so at the end of it, there's what they call fight for your life. Now, during that week, it's a lot of PT. They teach us mixed martial arts. They teach us all kinds of different things. You have a partner. It was funny because our class had an odd number of cadets, and I was the shortest in the class. So I was the odd one out. Yeah. I didn't have a partner that was a fellow cadet.
Okay.
The instructors just took turns. So I guess I learned everything the right way. They didn't have to, like, I saw some of the other cadets, they had to keep trying the moves. So they had to keep, like, hitting each other because they weren't getting the moves right.
And this is at the end, you're saying, when it was like the fight for your life thing, or is it just throughout the week?
This was throughout the week.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, on Friday, we have... So not only do we have to turn in our essay, because every week you had an essay due based on what was taught in class. Then you also have the test of whatever it is. So for that week, it was fight for your life. Then you also have the written test for everything that was taught that week. Academy was intense, I will say that.
So what was fight for your life?
So fight for your life was where they would have, your fellow cadets dress up as inmates and attack you. They'd start with one. If you seem to be doing well enough where you're going to win, they'll send in another one, and then another one, then another one. I think at the end of mine, I had about 3 other cadets attacking me.
Now, did they send in the men or just other women? Or
it was other women. We had enough women in my class. I think there was 6 of us. There were 6 women in my class.
Okay.
So
did they attack you with just their hands, or were they given, like, fake weapons and stuff like that as well?
Hands, and then we had, like, a headgear on. But during self-defense week, they teach us about, like, the pressure points and things like that, and where to strike. And so that's what they were expecting from us as cadets attacking our fellow cadets.
Poke them in the eye?
Yep. Oh, no, not poke them in the eye.
Well, no, if you get attacked, right, by like 3 inmates, as a guard, you're going to try to do whatever you can. So, like, you're obviously going to go for, like, the weak points, like the eyes, the throat, the testicles.
There was one move. Oh, my gosh. This was horrible. Because, like I said, I didn't have a partner. Up until, I think, Thursday, one of the other cadets, he didn't make it.
Yeah.
He stormed out. They told him, like, hey, bud, this isn't for you. You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
He was an older gentleman. And so then they ended up partnering me with his partner,
right?
Which was a guy.
Yeah.
And so, but before that, it was the instructors, and they didn't get their moves wrong.
Right.
It was pretty intense. And one of the moves was, like, with your palm up in the nose. Oh my gosh, I saw stars.
Oh, they actually did it too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. I just fell straight over.
That's weird. I'm surprised they actually, like, would strike, like, face strike each other in there. Okay.
Yep. And at that point, you don't have your headgear on. It's not until fight for your life that you have your headgear.
Huh.
There's one too right here on the neck where they strike you with their forearm. That one hurt too.
Like, they just slap you with their forearm on your neck?
Yeah, they just right on your neck. That one knocked me over too.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense. I got pretty beat up that week.
I guess it's vital because it could happen, and you need to
Right.
know how to fight
Right.
for your life in those types of situations.
Exactly. And by the book is what they want you to do. So you're not supposed to, hit an inmate with your radio or poke. You're only supposed to go by what
So
they teach you.
poking in the eyes is not like a textbook move.
No.
Like I would poke somebody in the eyes if my life depended on it. Like,
And that's what they tell us. They're like, hey, if this happens and you do get assaulted, you're going to be investigated after, because you're only supposed to do things by the book. But obviously, when your life is at stake, you're not going to.
The moment, you're going to rely on your instincts. Like you can bite and knee people. And
heck yeah, I would.
Poke in the eye or pull hair.
Yep.
Whatever. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can just fight for your life.
Exactly.
So they teach you to fight for your life, but then they only give you so many moves.
Exactly. It didn't really make sense. But we knew basically what the instructors were telling us. Like, hey, this is what we have to teach you. But in the event, just do what you got to do to make it out alive.
How often did it happen? Like how often after the academy and stuff did you guys hear about like staff getting assaulted?
Often, very often. Maybe
I'd agree with that.
Once every other week.
Oh, that's a lot. I was thinking once every couple months, but
through the whole complex. The whole
complex or the whole state?
I'm sure it's probably once a week through the whole state.
Once a week through the entire state?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it depends on what you classify a staff assault as, right? Because sometimes, like some of the staff members, you could throw a paper cup at them and that's staff assault and they write you a ticket.
That is staff assault.
No, I know it is. I'm just saying like is that what they're talking about? Are they actually talking about, like inmates, jumping and attacking the staff? Because that's
probably like once a month, but staff assault could be spitting on a cop. Sure. It could be, anytime an inmate puts their hands on you, that's staff assault right there. Or like you said, throwing something. Yeah. Staff assault. It is what it is.
No, I agree. It's the same thing like with, cops. Like if you can't, it's resisting arrest if you do. If you even kind of budge your shoulders or something when they're trying to put cuffs on you, they'll hit you with resisting arrest, and that throws another 2 years onto your sentence because now you have another charge, and that's common out here. But like actual staff assaults in 7 years in prison, there was a black lady. She was a corrections officer. She said something to these paisa dudes, these Mexican dudes. She called one of them, like, I might have told this story on here already, I'm not sure, but she called one of them like a punk or something like that, and like 5 little paisa dudes, because the paisas are always little short dudes.
Yeah.
Like 5 of those dudes like jumped her, and like that was early in my sentence, and then later on, there was a CO who took off his belt and his badge, which in prison, if the COs take off their belt and the badge, that means they're gonna fight you one-on-one.
Yeah.
And they're not relying on their position or their authority, and they won't after everything's over. It's just a one-on-one fight, and they're not going to write you up or put you in the hole. He did though, like the guard lost the fight, and then he came back later on and with more guards and
wow. Yeah,
so that was but honestly, it's not that common. Like you would see it every now and then, you would hear about it every now and then, but for the most part, inmates don't attack staff unless they have a really, really good reason to, right? Mm-hmm. Unless the staff did something crazy.
I saw one time. Well, I saw the aftermath of it. I was one of the officers who responded to the staff assault. It was in the chow hall. For the viewers, that is the dining hall where the inmates eat. And so the inmate had gotten up and got a second tray, and the CO saw it. And this was one of those RoboCop COs.
Yeah.
He enjoyed getting a rise out of inmates. It was his thing.
Yeah.
He went and pulled the tray out of the inmate's hand, and the inmate assaulted him. I think from what I heard, he hit the CO with the tray. He pulled it back and hit him with the tray, and then they got into some sort of altercation. The CO pepper sprayed him. We arrived, and then it was kind of funny afterwards. Well, it's not funny. I shouldn't say that. But it was, ironic that CO loved to get a rise out of inmates, and the, inevitable happened because the things he would do to the inmates.
Yeah, if you push anybody too far, they're going to eventually.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you get a reputation on the yard for being that corrections officer that's always messing with people.
Yeah.
And then that's the ones that usually get, beat up
Yep.
or assaulted, whatever you want to call
Yep.
it.
And then after that, he didn't want to go back to the yard. Like he kept.
I don't think they can't. Can you? Like I thought you have to. If
They moved that inmate.
well, no, I thought if you're a corrections officer and you get assaulted, you have to get moved to a different yard.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not true. I think there's like a little investigation or whatever.
Right.
Being a corrections officer, you get investigated all the time. It's just it happens.
Right.
And he got investigated. I think like 3 days later, he was clear to go back to the yard, and he didn't want to. He was like volunteering to do main control, which there's no inmate interaction up there. He was volunteering to go to like hospital runs.
Like, was he like seriously hurt, or was it? Just,
I
like,
saw him
bruised up
afterwards. He had like his neck was pretty red. I guess the inmate choked him too. His neck was pretty
man.
red. His face. He had a very light complexion. So his face was all red, and you could tell like he was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. We showed up, and he was pretty shaken from the event.
Well, you've got for corrections officers, especially for all of the corrections officers who watch our channel. You've got two types of inmates. You've got the inmates that care and the inmates that don't care.
Right.
And like there's like me, I cared. I only had 7 years. That's not a long time. It sounds like a long time, but it's not. And I had a release date. So every day I woke up and I was looking, towards my release date. So I cared. And if you attack a cop, you're going to get another 5 to 7 years or more, depending on like if you seriously, like if you were to, had he hit that cop with the tray and broken his jaw, he would have got 10 more years. 12, 12 more years, right? For like aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, serious bodily injury. He would have got 12 more years.
Yep.
And, if you're doing 7 years like I was, your 7-year sentence just turned into a 19-year sentence. There's a big difference between 7 years and 19 years. So most people in prison care. Most guys are like me. The vast, vast majority of people in prison do not want to get more time. They will go out of their way to not get more time. If a guard grabbed a tray out of my hands when I was in prison, cool, take it, buddy. It's yours. Have it. It's a tray of food.
Right.
It's some slop, a piece of bread, some vegetables that are soggy. Take it. It's yours, buddy. And a piece of cake, dried up cake. It's yours. Enjoy it. You can have it. Okay. I'm not gonna hit him. I might say something to him, but I'm not gonna hit him with a tray. I'm not gonna attack him and get 5 more years, 7 more years. But then there are other inmates who don't care.
Right.
And they're like, this is my life, this is what I am, this is who I am. And that's your job as a corrections officer, not to figure out who is who, because you can't really do that, but just to be aware that there are two types of inmates in there, and one of them does not care.
Yep.
And for any corrections officers watching this, you know what I mean. Go, and even for inmates, the same exact thing applies. There are other people in there who do not care, and just go in there and do your time and go home. If the same thing for corrections officers, go to your job, do your job, go home. Don't be super cop.
Right.
You don't need to be super cop.
Yeah.
Just go do your job and go home. Or that kind of stuff doesn't happen, because it does happen. And there's stories in other states where, even here in Arizona, all of the yards in Buckeye are named after corrections officers that were supposedly killed on the job by inmates. Right? You've got Maury, Steiner, Barchi, Buckley, Rast. Did I say Buckley?
Yep.
There's another one that starts with a B. Barchi, Buckley, Bachman.
Yep.
Yeah, Bachman, Rast, Steiner, Maury. And supposedly all of those yards are named after guards that, were, died. Died on the job.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how true that is. That's just what that's just what inmates, always told other inmates on those yards.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm sure you guys had to get training about like guards that, died on the job.
Yes. Yep.
It happens.
It does. It does happen.
Yeah.
But there's stories of, they told us in the academy, of COs who, female COs who were taken hostage, and the R word
Yeah.
And they told us, it's a possibility. It could happen. So
Right.
just do what you got to do in that situation.
And protect yourself and try to stay alive. And
Yep.
yeah, it's a rough. It's a rough world in there for sure. It's not. It's not a pretty place to be. So yeah, it happens, and I don't know what other questions the audience. I'm trying to think about what questions the audience might have, in regards to it. Do they give you guys like, so if it were to happen, do they get like, I'm assuming if you get beat up in there as a guard, they give you a couple weeks off, paid time off. Are you right back at work?
I think depending, I guess, depending on how severe.
Yeah, depending on how severe it is, right? If you're in the hospital, obviously, you're gonna get paid
because
time.
I knew personally, other COs that had been assaulted, and they just right back at work. But yeah, I'm sure if you get like seriously injured, you probably get some time off.
Did the COs wear it as like a badge of honor?
Some COs, yeah.
There was a lady, I think her last name was Gallagher, and she was like a lieutenant out at Buckeye.
Oh, I remember her.
No, she was in Buckeye.
Oh, there was that was a guy. That was a guy in Tucson.
Maybe it wasn't Gallagher either. I'm trying to remember, but this was many years ago. She was a tiny little lady, and she was a lieutenant, and she would come on the yard, and she'd be like, I've worked here for 39 years. I've been punched. I've been stabbed. I've had my teeth knocked out. You guys don't scare me, you pussies. And like, she would talk crazy and stuff.
Oh, wow.
But she had worked like yards like SMU and Maury, and she had been like on the crazy high yards back in the day. And like, that lady was like tough as nails. Like, I wonder if we can find her and interview her, because she did like 40 years or something like that working for the prisons, and like she had stories and stuff, and she was she was a lieutenant, which there's not really too much above a lieutenant, and she would come on the yard and say that pretty much she had seen everything there was to see and done everything there was to do, and she wasn't scared of none of us. Yeah, it was pretty great. She was tiny, like 4'9", like
wow.
little tiny thing. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's I guess our view on staff assaults. Like I said, most inmates care and don't want anything to do with fighting a cop. Don't want anything to do, because it is more time.
Right.
Oh, and then we would hear stories that when it did happen. So if you ever beat up a cop, they would tell us stories. If you ever beat up a cop, they take you to the hole, and then the other cops will beat the shit out of you in the hole. Like 4 or 5 cops will just go back there with batons and like break your ribs, like beat the shit out of you.
We don't have batons here in Arizona, but
Yeah.
I mean, when you do attack another CO, they take that very personally.
Right.
And if you happen to trip on your way to SMU, and hit your head on a few things.
Yeah, SMU is super max unit. So right, that's where if you attack a cop, that's where you go is SMU.
They're not gentle with you. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. We've heard stories that they would say like if you attack a cop, when they get you to the hole, like they will hurt you bad. Yeah. So another reason why it's not a good idea: keep your hands to yourself, children. This is what I have to tell my 2 kids. Yes. It's the same thing in prison, bro. Keep your hands to yourself. It's all about respect. It's all about most people in prison generally just want to do their time and go home. That's really like, it's not like the movies where you got like a bunch of tough guys trying to act tough, and it's not like that. It might have been back in the day. It's not like that anymore. There's dudes in there trying to make money for sure. There's dudes in there trying to hustle. There's dudes in there who do take the respect thing real serious, and they will pop off if they have to. But for the most part, you can mind your own business. You can work out and, program, read books, do whatever you want to do, and go home. Most guys in there are really just trying to go home.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been in communication with a lot of people who are, still inside lately. Working on this project we're working on that we're going to bring to the camera pretty soon. And we're going to give you guys some different perspectives pretty soon, a different view of prison that's never been done before. And I keep going back to this. It's literally all I've been thinking about for like,
I know.
3 weeks now?
Yeah.
Even in my office at work where our company's at, I can't focus on anything because like I have this idea and I'm going to bring it to life, and it's going to be massive. We're going to hit 100,000 subscribers in the next 90 to 120 days. By Christmas, we'll be at like 150K. That's how big it's going to be, if not more. So you guys stay tuned because it is going to get crazy. Did we want to talk about anything else apart from like staff assault for this video? Last week we talked about coronavirus in the prisons.
Just to touch on the whole staff assault thing, because it is, as a CO, as a former CO, it is scary to think about the thought that you're going into work one day and then you get assaulted, and it's very highly possible. There were times I thought it was going to happen to me, and it's scary.
Yeah. People just angry, like people are
Yeah,
just angry at
yeah.
you.
Well, like I think my first month there, I got I pissed off like an older guy. He was an OG for real.
Yeah.
And he was a tall, probably 6'5" black dude.
Yeah.
And I told him he was on report because he was out of place for count.
Yeah.
And he just went off. He was one of those real hostile ones. And he just went off. And that was the first time I ever felt like really scared on the job because it was graveyard shift. I didn't have a partner there.
Yeah.
It was a really scary situation for me. And he was just in my face going off.
Yeah.
It is. It's scary. And
well, because being on report means you can lose your visitation, you can lose your, privileges, your TV, your phone calls, commissary. Sorry. It's been a long day. Sorry, audience. It's been a long day. It is so crazy to think that hundreds and hundreds of people watch these videos every week.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Yeah.
Real quick though, to finish.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
No, you're good. Just recommendation to the fellow COs out there who watch our videos. Just, give respect and you'll get it in return.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most
I
of
should
the time.
say. That whole RoboCop thing.
Super
Cop. Yeah, it's, I mean, if that's what you like, that's what you like, but just be prepared.
Yeah.
It's a scary job.
It usually ends bad for the super cops,
Yeah.
the guys who take it too serious and stuff.
Yeah.
They usually end up getting fired because
Yeah.
they do. Right. If they don't get beat up by an inmate, they get themselves in trouble because they take it way too serious. Like I saw a cop one time. I can't remember his name. He dived over a wall to like try to tackle an inmate, and obviously like it took him like 2 to 3 seconds to dive over the wall, and the inmate had 2 to 3 seconds to react, so he just backed up, and like the cop just like hit the ground. You know what I mean? So, and everybody laughed, right?
Right.
And I don't know what happened to that guy, but I'm sure like eventually he probably got fired or got in trouble because he was just too much. He was doing way too much. Like,
Yeah.
Take it easy. Go do your job. Go home, bro.
Right. Especially if you have kids and a family
Yeah.
at home.
Not worth it.
Yeah, it's really not. Just do your job. It's
Yeah,
not.
do your job. Go home.
If you do your job the right way, you're really not going to run into too many problems if you do it the right way. Like,
Right.
If you go above and beyond and overboard, like you might run into some problems. And me personally, I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Let's talk about after people get out of prison and stuff, because we see a lot of our guys coming home, getting out of prison, staying out of prison, and what it takes to, because a lot of the people who watch the channel have been to prison, what it takes to be successful, what it takes to find life after prison, to find happiness, to find stability. Stability is the key word here. That's the key word.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say that in one of our previous videos, but I think we went into a whole nother conversation. But something I noticed, people who we have seen get out and be successful,
Right.
a lot of them have found like a significant other that they stayed with for a long period of time. And that was like, to me, that was stability for them. And that's kind of what helped.
A girlfriend or a wife or a husband, if you're a female, and children is like a huge, because you are, you're accountable to them.
Right.
You got to go home to the wife. You got to go home to your children. You got to be there to, have dinner. You can't be out partying with your boys when you have a wife and kids, right?
Right.
We're too old for that stuff, anyways. A lot of the guys, who we work with, the guys who I know, we're all in our 30s and our 40s, too old to be hanging out at bars. Hanging out at bars is going to do nothing but end up getting you in trouble.
Yep.
Hanging out at a bar, even if you're a single guy trying to pick up chicks, that's not how you do it. Don't hang out at bars. Like, don't. That's just. There's nothing but trouble at those places. And if you're a convict, you've been to prison, don't hang out at bars. Don't hang out at places where people are drinking. Don't hang out. Hang out at home. End of story. So I think the number one thing is to find stability after you get out of prison is going to be get a job and work. And then if you have free time to do other stuff, get a second job and work. And then you should have no free time to really do too much. You should work and then go home, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up, work again. You should be working so much you don't have time to spend the money you're making. That's the key. I've been out for 8.5 years. I've been working so much I don't have time to really do anything else. I don't go shopping for fancy clothes. I buy my clothes at Walmart. Some lady called me out in a video for wearing a Ross shirt.
Really?
Yeah, because it was from Ross. It was a Ross. She was like, I was like, how did you know that? Like,
You
do you
love
work at
that
Ross?
store.
Yeah, no, I like Ross because it's like $8 a shirt. Yeah, I like to go buy $8 shirts. That's my thing. Some guys wear $100 shirts. I don't get it. It's not my thing. $8 a shirt is good to me.
I like Target.
Target's
Target's
kind of
cool.
pricey, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bougie.
Is it? Yeah.
A little bit.
That's not bougie for clothes, I don't think. It's probably bougie for like whatever else people shop at Target for. I don't like Target. There's always long lines at the Targets near our house.
I like it that they have a Starbucks inside of it so I can get my coffee while I walk around.
Yeah, that's pretty bougie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a thing.
yeah, that's pretty bougie for sure. I just go to Ross and then drink black coffee.
I don't
out of
like
the Keurig.
malls. The malls are just too busy for me. There's just too many people. It stresses me out. I get like panic attacks in
Yeah.
large places like that with a lot of people. So
When I got out of prison and whenever I went to like large crowded places like that, I would freak out. I would like lose my shit. I just couldn't be around like huge groups of people like that. Even today, I'm still not great with like big groups of people. Prison makes you be, real weird like in a mall. Like if you just did 10 years and you get out, like going to a mall is not where you want to hang out. And it's full of teenagers. There's kids everywhere. They're super annoying and loud, and gossiping like super loud about Tina's new backpack. Had a picture of Dylan on it, and Dylan's dating Jessica, and Jessica's pregnant by Brandon. And
what?
kids are crazy these days.
They are crazy.
Yeah, our daughter just turned 16 and she had her party here, and there's like all these little crazy teenagers running around our house, like, and I was stressed out of my mind listening to them just gossip about all the other little 16-year-olds.
Yep,
Ridiculous.
I was sitting back watching all the teenage drama. It was pretty amusing.
Ridiculous. I don't know. Where are we at, Matt? How are we looking? 31 minutes. All righty. Well, I say we wrap it up.
Okay.
We'll get ready for we're going to be shooting all week, you guys. We're shooting on Friday, the day this video comes out. We're going to be shooting Friday and then releasing next Friday. So let me double check the calendar so you guys can know. At the very latest, we're going to have some new videos, some new types of videos coming out by June 28th. It's a big video. It's taken a lot of planning, a lot of coordination. It's going to be amazing, though. There's nothing in the world like it. There's never been a video in the world done like it. It's going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it. And by June 28th at the very latest, you guys will have them. Maybe we'll release them like on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Before the podcast, so we can do the podcast after. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea because then we can talk about the videos.
Yeah,
in the
I
podcast.
enjoyed doing the podcast.
All right, cool. So Wednesday, June 26th, Matt, the producer, you got to have the videos already.
No pressure.
No pressure. Can I get a thumbs up? Matt says yes, June 26th. The video will be out. It's going to be awesome. You want to finish off with anything?
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah. Happy 4th of July.
Happy Juneteenth. Oh, today is Juneteenth.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was thinking
Juneteenth.
that was in my head. Holiday. What's the next
Real
one
quick, just
coming
to touch on Juneteenth in prison. So in prison on Juneteenth, that is the best meal we get in prison. They give us a big old chicken leg attached to the thigh, like the whole chicken quarter, and then we get a hot link. We get black-eyed peas, peach cobbler. Sorry, my phone is ringing. And it is an awesome meal. So, yeah.
That's where I learned about Juneteenth.
Yeah. Yeah, most people, I think, Juneteenth is, like, more popular now.
Yeah.
But, like, 20
Back
years
then it
ago, a lot of
wasn't.
people didn't know what Juneteenth was.
Yeah.
So, but in prison, Juneteenth is a big holiday. That's, like, the best meal of the year in the Arizona prisons. At least in Arizona. If you guys have done time in another state, tell me about Juneteenth. Let me know how Juneteenth was in the other states or the other holiday meals, right? Like, Thanksgiving sucks. Yeah, just dry turkey, runny mashed potatoes, and
I remember one Thanksgiving I had to work, and I came to shift, and my shift was 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
swing shift.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was like my whole day,
Yeah.
and so I didn't get to eat until I got home later that night. But while I was there, the kitchen called, and they were like, "Do you want a tray? A Thanksgiving tray? We'll make it, special for you
Cranberry
guys."
sauce.
I was
Yeah.
like, "No, I'm okay." So I'll just wait.
Yeah, it's depressing being in prison on Thanksgiving. Being in prison on Christmas are some of the most depressing days in prison. And, the mood, the aura changes. And then you go to the chow hall and they serve you that dried turkey, the cranberry sauce out of a can. and it just makes it that much more depressing. But Juneteenth is a good meal in prison. 4th of July is like a hot dog and a hamburger. I think you get both. It's a hot dog and a hamburger. And then the Super Bowl is the best meal.
Oh, yeah,
the
the
second
Super
best
Bowl.
meal, I should say. It's like the big roast beef sub sandwich, like a hoagie, and that one's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah. So if you guys have done time in another state, let us know about your holiday meals, what those are like. But I am tired. I'm exhausted because we've been shooting this other huge video all week. I got to go to bed. I love you guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you for watching. Give us a thumbs up,
Yeah.
subscribe, and click the little notification bell to notify you when we have a new video.
Yes. And stay tuned for next week.
Yep.
Awesome. Later, guys.